Plaintiff David Morris became friends with the defendant years ago, despite the fact that David was warned about the defendant's behavior. David claims he and the defendant took a trip for work together. However, due to the defendant's erratic behavior and childish temper tantrums, David was forced to leave early. He's suing for travel and food expenses. Defendant John Michael says the trip with David started out fine, but everything changed once David hit the beach and started drinking. John claims David became extremely disrespectful and spiteful to John and the other employees, and he even damaged John's truck, so he's countersuing.
All right, tell me what happened.
I've known John here for about 15 years or so, and over the years I've been warned by friends not to associate with him due to the fact that I could be taken advantage of. John offered me an opportunity to take a trip to Florida to move some furniture with him with his business, Bargain Movers. We moved some furniture to Orlando, had a couple of days to spend away from actually working, went to Clearwater Beach, Florida, spent a night in a hotel, went fishing the following morning after we arrived there. All I can say is John had a childish temper tantrum out on the beach with another man on the beach yelling and screaming at him regarding him swimming in John's part of the Gulf of Mexico, which is a pretty big body of water.
Your Honor.
Needless to say.
Let me allow him to clear up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Your Honor.
That's fine.
When I got to the beach, I was the only one within 400 yards to my left or right. I was fishing. These people you're talking about walked up to the beach from the ocean into my fishing line while I was fighting a fish and got tangled up in my fishing line. Yes, I was upset they were in my space.
All right, so what was the agreement on going down there with him?
The agreement was we would go down there, short little vacation for myself, earn a little bit of money, help him with his business by moving some furniture, and maybe get in a little bit of fishing. Never have been paid. I ended up having to find my own way home from Florida.
Being paid for what?
Helping him move furniture.
Before going, he offered money.
He offered me money
How
to
much?
go on this trip, $100.
All right. Now I have to hear his version of the agreement.
That's fine.
Your Honor, David was a hired employee, a truck driver. I submit to you the unemployment
Let's see what you have. Sounds like you're digging a hole for yourself, sir. He said you only promised him $100. If you're about to tell me he's a trucker, truckers make a lot more than $100 on a trip.
Correct, sir. Mr. Morris is saying that he made $100 because he is currently on unemployment and did not declare that he was working.
All right. How much do you say the agreement was, sir?
The agreement for that trip to Florida was $560.
All right. Go ahead, sir. What happened?
Again, this childish behavior on the beach, I had enough. I asked John if he would let me use his other fishing pole to do some fishing my own. He agreed. I took the fishing pole, walked about 40 or 50 feet away from where he was fishing, subsequently caught probably the biggest fish in my life, about 26-inch fish, caught a snook. I don't really know what that is, but it was a big fish to me. You know, I was happy. I was ecstatic. For some reason or another, John said something to the effect, let's get the fish off the beach. I got to take the fish back to the motel. So what did I do? Took the fish with one of the young men that was with us, put it in a pail of water, put it in the bed of the pickup truck, jumped in the pickup truck. Young man jumped in the passenger side of the pickup truck, drove back to the motel, drove back the 12 blocks to where John was still fishing at. Now he was having a temper tantrum with me because I supposedly just ruined the seat in his $50,000 truck. I apologized, and so did the young man that was with us, to clean the seat in his truck. You know, I apologized. And it started to rain about 10 minutes later. Big downpour came across the Gulf. I certainly was not going to be sitting in his truck anymore at that point. So I got and walked myself 12 blocks back, barefoot, all the way to the motel. Needless to say, we get to the motel. Throughout the day, a barrage of negative comments regarding my disrespect for other people's property and my irresponsibility. I took a nap in the afternoon to try to avoid the man. He woke me up in the middle of the afternoon yelling some other childish comments regarding, he's throwing this temper tantrum that I'm now sleeping in his bed, which happened to be a fold-out cot in the middle of a motel room, not in the king-size bed that happened to be in the other room. Later in the evening, he finally said that I was now utilizing his grandma's blankie. And I was like,
high?
I don't know that, sir. I don't know that answer.
Let me allow him to speak for himself.
That's right.
The trip started out really good. We were taking two young men to see the ocean that had never been there. If I may. We were having a blast going to Florida, but as soon as my truck hit the beach, Mr. Morris's attitude changed drastically.
What is it about the beach you think caused him to change?
Well, I'm sure it had something to do with the double shots of Crown Royal on my tab.
Alcohol had nothing to do with anything.
Mr. Morris did state that he did get into my truck without toweling himself off. I do have a picture of the fish he caught. And I also, for you, have a copy of the Florida snook fishing regulations. And I have a picture of my truck.
All right, because that's your counterclaim.
Yes, sir. Mr. Morris, who had been sleeping in the queen-size bed that he picked the first night, had moved Goldilocks himself into the king bed that the two boys were sleeping in.
For 10 minutes.
Because he was sunburned and too hot.
Correct. And
so he wanted to lay in front of the air conditioning. I paid the $140 for the resort room, took the twin-size cot out of the closet and slept on it myself, giving them
Weren't you going to show me the pictures of your truck? That you're
And I slept on the cot, sir.
That's enough of that. You guys are two prima donnas.
Yeah. No, sir. No, sir.
He
no,
slept
sir.
in the big bed.
I'm just trying to plead my case, sir.
Your
This
Honor,
doesn't show me the inside, sir. This doesn't show me where the cushion and the seat cover is damaged.
Mr. Morris has admitted to trashing my seat.
And Your Honor, I have an estimate to
Okay,
clean
good.
the
Let's
seat
see
in his
both
truck.
estimates.
You bet.
That's good. I'm glad to hear
I have an
that you
estimate
all
to show
both have
cleaning of his truck,
estimates.
which was done before I even filed a lawsuit against
Why
John.
do you want your travel expenses, sir?
In the evening, he continued his barrage of childish behavior against me. At 12:30 in the morning, he came in and I just said, John, why don't we just call this a day? Buy me a bus ticket and I'll be out of your way.
Okay.
Needless to say, John's next comment was, I'm not buying you a bus ticket. And furthermore, you're not riding home in my truck back to Wisconsin. You can find your own way home.
You telling me you couldn't ride home?
Your Honor, what I told Mr. Morris as he lay in my bed, wrapped up in my grandmother's quilt,
In your
my
grandmother's
grandmother's quilt, naked,
Grandma's
was, you are not sleeping in this room until you go downstairs and get clean sheets and come make these beds. And you are not riding in my truck until you clean my seat. That is the point
Did
in
he tell
time.
you that?
He
No,
jumped
sir.
out of bed, grabbed his bags, and
Did you
said, I'm
ever
out of
clean
here.
the truck?
I offered to repeatedly from the time
And
that I
what
got
would
it
he
wet.
tell you?
He just said there was no opportunity. He never gave me an opportunity. I called him for 3 weeks after the fact. Actually,
No. I'm talking about on the trip.
I said, let us go wash the truck.
And what'd you say his response was?
He didn't give me any response other than he wouldn't let me get in his truck to go wash it. Here I was wanting to and
Why do you
offering.
think that is?
He was mad because I got his seat wet.
He says he repeatedly asked you if he could, and you repeatedly wouldn't answer. Locksmith fees, how does he owe you for that?
The whole course of thing, I asked him for my keys to my vehicle that were in his truck during the trip, which they always were. I set
What
them
did he
inside
say?
of his dash. He refused. He said he would mail them to me when he gets back in
Did
town.
you refuse to give him his keys while there?
While I was there at 12:30 at night in the middle of the street, yes, it was a heated conversation. I told him when I returned to Wisconsin and had my truck detailed and found his keys in my truck that I would return them to him.
And I'm looking at two very different estimates. One for $63 for auto cleanup of a bucket seat, and another for $1,095.
It hadn't been cleaned up until that point. I took it to the dealership when I got off work.
Why didn't you
That's
have
the
it
estimate
cleaned
they
up
gave
until
me.
this point?
I was on the road, sir, in Florida. I'm from Wisconsin.
You could have done it yourself before getting on the road,
Yes, sir.
and you wouldn't have incurred a $1,000 charge for new covers.
Yes, sir.
So I can't grant you that. I'm going to grant you just what you said. He refused to give you a cleaning.
Your Honor, I have 3 different statements from people in Florida.
Saying what?
One of them in the room at the same time that Mr. Morris left, and he explains the conditions
Go
that
ahead.
Mr. Morris left.
Read it.
Dave would not apologize about his behavior, and when they asked him to come get fresh seats
That's
and
foolish.
change the bed, he refused, and that's when he had his fill and got up and left.
That's foolish.
Sir, I don't believe your story about him not allowing you an opportunity to clean it. You want me to believe that you just kept asking him, can I
Yes,
clean
sir.
it? Can I clean
Yes,
it?
sir.
Can I clean it?
Yes, sir.
And he just
Yes, sir. I
wouldn't
wish
say,
my
well,
wife
I
was
don't
here.
believe it. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
believe you. I
Yes, sir.
believe you got mad, just like this
sir.
witness statement says, and you left on your own. I'll grant you your locksmith fees based on this estimate, $679 for his locksmith fees and $100 for the payment that he hasn't received. And I'll grant you, sir, your $63.30 for the cleaning.
Your Honor, did you notice that the fishing regulations from Florida have the snook season closed in June, July, and August? And that fish was illegally kept by Mr. Morris?
You might want to call the Florida police,
Your Honor,
and have him arrested.
Your Honor,
that is.
You better skip town. That was an illegal fish, and he's going to call, and you're going to be in trouble. What is he left with?
$715.
You're left with $715.70. Have a good day.
thank you, Your Honor.